Glendale, Arizona. Hahn said it at one point during the 2018 season. Daniel Palka has no interest in being a 27-year-old DH. And so that's what he's trying to avoid heading into this new campaign. Palka won a special place in the hearts and minds of White Sox fans last season, hitting 27 home runs in his rookie season and displaying everyman qualities that made him one of the most popular players on the team, all this despite not even making the opening day roster. But while there was much to like about Palka's 2018 left-handed power and a knack for clutch hits among the highlights, there were obvious things that he needed to work on. His defense was the most discussed, and it seemed he was best suited for a role as a designated hitter. To Palka's credit, he worked every day with White Sox coach Darryl Boston to improve in the outfield, and his work carried into the offseason. And while he says he needed no extra motivation to transform from likely DH into big league outfielder, the team's acquisition of Yonder Alonso, who was split time at first base and designated hitter with Jose Abreu, seemed to take away the DH opportunities Palka was ticketed for. So now improving his defense becomes imperative if he wants to stay in the conversations surrounding the White Sox short and long-term futures. He knows it. The whole off-season, we were working on defense and small footwork stuff just to get more mobile, Palka said Saturday at Camelback Ranch. I ate right, ran a lot. We did a lot more sprint work this year than I've ever done. Just wanted to come back and be ready to play in the outfield every day. Whether we have 18 DHs or not, I wanted to be able to say, hey, if I'm going to contribute on the team, I need to be in the outfield every day and playing a position. And the good news for Palka is that he's already noticing a difference in his defense. It's night and day, he said. We did a lot of reps. Even the first day we got out there with Boston. Everything was smooth. Defense is one of those things where you have to put in the work. Hitting is fun, but defense is work. It's the first year I did that, so I'm pretty confident. The White Sox outfield is about to get a lot more crowded. While the opening day starting three might be relatively easy to project, Palka, Adam Engel and the newly acquired John Jay, top-ranked prospect Eloy Jimenez is expected to arrive a few weeks into the regular season and take over an everyday job in left field. And so Palka, Engel, Jay, Nicky Delmonico and Larry Garcia are left to fight for time at the other two spots. There will not be room for all of those players on the active roster. Palka can offer left-handed pop none of those other guys can. But can he be improved enough with the glove to box them out? That's one of the big questions of camp and the early part of the season. Whatever role I have to do, for me to be able to contribute to the team, I need to be playing defense, Palka said. I wanted to be able to contribute on both sides of the ball instead of just sitting. It just makes me more valuable to the team, and the more ways I can contribute the better, and defense isn't the only thing Palka needs to improve to distinguish himself from his competition in the outfield. Despite the 27 home runs, he hit .240 with an on-base percentage of .294 in 2018. He worked on that, too, communicating with hitting coach Todd Steverson during the offseason and trying to improve his approach. It was a lot of fun stuff, but at the same time, I kind of looked back on it as frustrating, Palka said of his rookie year. You know you can do more. My plan is to be a hitter first. The homers will come. I'm a hitter, and I was a little raw last year in my approach, but it was a good learning curve. You can do all the hitting and stuff you want to do in the off-season, but until you start and have a different approach in live at-bats, that's where it's going to change. So, I have to come in here and key in on my pitches early instead of just wanting to hit every single pitch. This all sounds like pretty serious business from a guy who won over fans by joking around on social media and during media sessions. Well, don't worry. He's hoping the work will make him a different caliber of fielder, but he's not changing too much. I mean, I feel like the same stud I was before. Click here to download the new My Teams app by NBC Sports. Receive comprehensive coverage of your teams and stream the White Sox easily on your device. Glendale, Arizona, as if expectations weren't high enough for Eloy Jimenez. White Sox fans are eagerly awaiting Jimenez's ascension to the major leagues, which is anticipated to happen within the first few weeks of the 2019 season. He's the top-ranked prospect in the organization and the number 3 prospect in the game. His statistical output, light tower power, ever-present confidence and scouting reports from every corner of the baseball world have previewed Jimenez as a superstar in the making. Even general manager Rick Hahn acknowledged this offseason that the White Sox expect Jimenez to become the caliber of player that puts him the same category as the premium talent the team has pursued on this winter's free agent market, Bryce Harper and Manny Machado, 2 of the best players in baseball. And now you can add a comparison to arguably the greatest hitter in history. I look at him as the Babe Ruth of our generation, Michael Kopech said Saturday at Camelback Ranch. He's going to be okay. Oh, so apparently White Sox fans can expect to cheer on one of the best players of all time, watch him belt more than 700 home runs and turn his name into an adjective once he finally gets his first major league at-bat, that is. That sounds pretty hyperbolic but is illustrated. Kopech's eye-popping praise is only the latest for a guy who's expected to entrench himself in the middle of the South Side batting order for the better part of the next decade. Very smart hitter, very well-rounded when gets to the plate, Kopech said. He's very calm, doesn't seem like he's out of place at any point, no matter who's on the mound. Very impressive to watch. I've seen that guy hit about everything as far as anyone can hit it, so I don't know if there's a pitch you could get by him. Jimenez had an opportunity to respond to Kopech's compliment and doled out one of his own. Yeah, he told me that in AAA, Jimenez said. I feel proud and blessed. And I think he's the Nolan Ryan. Jimenez didn't make it to Chicago last year, but he was the No. 1 topic of discussion at Guaranteed Rate Field, with Hahn consistently peppered with questions about when Jimenez would be promoted to the big leagues. If it seemed a little premature, considering Jimenez had played in only 18 games above Class A when the 2018 season started, just look at what he did, a .337, .384, .577 /line, with 22 home runs and 75 RBIs in 108 games between AA Birmingham and AAA Charlotte. While the White Sox dealt with the financial realities of the game, Jimenez's continued stay in the minor leagues prompted angry statements from his agents. And the player himself penned a piece for the Players Tribune about how ready he was for the majors. The latter wasn't much of a controversy, though, as Jimenez has been talking about his big league readiness since he was acquired in the 2017 trade that brought him over from the Cubs. Mix in that confidence with all the talent, and you get a guy who's expected to hit the ground running when he finally gets called up, most likely sometime in mid-April. The transition from the minors to the majors can be tough for some. Kopech doesn't think it will be a problem for Jimenez, even though he has to deal with Ruthian expectations. If there's any struggles at all, it won't be physically, it will be mentally. But I don't see him struggling, Kopech said. He's been a big leaguer in his own mind for a long time, and with good reason. Click here to download the new My Teams app by NBC Sports. Receive comprehensive coverage of your teams and stream the White Sox easily on your device. Has absolutely the worst delivery I have ever seen, except possibly Floyd Humans, from the Nair, James Guide to Pitchers 2004, in the year 2000. A funky side-arming lefty made his MLB debut on opening day, then went on to tie for the MLB lead with 83 appearances for the season. That would be Kelly Wunsch. Born July 12, 1972, in Houston, Texas, Wunsch was drafted twice. First, he was drafted out of high school by the Braves in the 54th round in 1990, but opted for college. The Brewers came calling in 1993, when they selected Wunsch in the first round, 26th overall, out of Texas A. He was the free agent compensation pick from the Blue Jays when Toronto signed Paul Molitor. On April 15, 1994, pitching for Beloit of the Class A Midwest League, Wunsch made history when he struck out 5 batters in the third inning in a game against Springfield. He was the first minor leaguer since Ron Necchia on May 17, 1952, with 5 whiffs in an inning. Side note, Necchia struck out 24 in that game, for the Bristol Twins in the Class D Appalachian League, after pitching a 27 strikeout no-hitter in his previous start 4 days earlier. Wunsch continued making his way through the minors. He struggled to a 5.51 ERA as a starter for Beloit and Stockton, Advanced A, in 1995, then missed all of 1996 with injuries. As noted in the 2003 White Sox media guide, he proposed to his wife in 1997 while disguised as the Class A Stockton team mascot. The team was the Stockton Ports, and the mascot is apparently a large fuzzy red thing and not an actual port, though it would be interesting to see someone try to pull off dressing as a port. In any event, Wunsch was granted free agency by the Brewers in October 1999 without yet reaching the majors. 1 month later, he signed with the White Sox as a non-roster invitee to spring training and made the team. He went on to have a great rookie season, posting a 2.93 ERA in 61 and a third innings with 51 strikeouts and a 1.288 WHIP. He finished 5th in AL Rookie of the Year voting behind Kazuhiro Sasaki, Terrence Long, Mark Quinn and Benji Molina. His 83 games in 2000 remain a White Sox rookie record, 15 more than the next highest total. The rookie lefty even appeared in 3 games in the 2000 ALDS against the Mariners, collecting a loss in 1 inning work with 1 unearned run allowed. 2001 was tough. Wunsch pitched to a 7.66 ERA in 33 games before shoulder surgery ended his season in June. The lefty specialist returned to the mound in May 2002 and bounced back with a 3.41 ERA in 50 games, 31.2 IP. Wunsch started 2003 on fire. His sidearm funk held opponents hitless over his first 9 appearances, 7 IP, scoreless over his first 14 appearances, 11 and a third IP, and had a 1.15 ERA and .102 opponent batting average in 22 appearances when he suffered a strained left lot at home against the Giants. He wasn't quite as good when he returned, walking 16 and 20 and a third IP with a 3.98 ERA. Made only 3 appearances for the White Sox in 2004. By now the lefty reliever spots belonged to Damaso Mart and Neil Kotz. Pitched fairly well with AAA Charlotte and signed a free agent deal with the Dodgers in 2005, where he took the mound 45 times to the tune of a 4.56 ERA. Despite an attempt to come back with the Astros in spring 2007, he never made it back to the majors. Since 2007, Wunsch has worked as a home builder and realtor, running Kelly Wunsch Homes in Austin, Texas. He has also worked as a color analyst for the Round Rock Express on radio and television. Click here to download the new My Teams app by NBC Sports. Receive comprehensive coverage of your teams and stream the White Sox easily on your device.